Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the Penny for Arizona's Education Future Lunch, brought to you by Hickman's Family Farms, ABC15, and the Phoenix Business Journal. Please welcome to the stage retired CEO and President of Empire Southwest and President of the Whiteman Foundation, Mr. John Whiteman.
Thank you. I didn't know I was first up. I thought we were going to have Pledge of Allegiance, some beautiful woman singing, but you got me instead. So good morning, and on behalf of my partners, Mike Brewer, Phil Francis, wherever Phil is, there he is, and our CEO Coalition, we really appreciate you coming to this luncheon about a penny for Arizona's educational future. It's really important that we move forward, and as I gaze across the room, I see, the depth, the quality, and the diversity of this group is just astounding. We have about a third of the state legislators here today. We have our newly elected school superintendent, Kathy Hoffman. Kathy, stand up. Thank you very much. We have educators like Beth Lewis from Save Our Schools. Beth, stand up. She's a fourth grade teacher, so she's practicing. And then as I came in, I ran into some superintendents I knew. Deb Burdick, Roger Freeman, Jeff Smith. So we got the educational community here as well. But we also have the business community. Todd Sanders leads a coalition of the Phoenix Chamber of Commerce and has been a great stalwart in education and moving education forward as we go forward. But the first speaker is President of the Senate, Karen Pham. I know Karen's here. I saw her come in, but I don't know. There she is, right down in front. Great, Karen. Our second speaker is Arizona State University President Michael Crow. And our third speaker is Arizona President of Lennar Homes, United States' largest home builder, Alan Jones. And they're going to talk about the importance of education, not just early ed, but through the university and in trade groups as well. And then the support group behind all of this are the Hickman family, as was mentioned earlier. Billy and Glenn Hickman and their family have been supporting last year's breakfast and this year's lunch, partnering with this in this beautiful facility with ABC Channel 15 is just outstanding. And we couldn't have had the presentation and the follow-through and the continued follow-through after this without the Phoenix Business Journal and Ray. So thank you very much, Ray, and appreciate your support. Now, let's get practical a little bit. I'm not sure how many have been touched, but I have, about going to meetings very similar to this. And we all nod our heads, yes, 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 that's really important. And then a year later, we go to another meeting, and we realize it's the same, yes, 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 that's really important. Nothing gets done. And this has been going on since I've been involved for about 7 or 10 years. Well, we're getting things done. And Sunday, when I opened the Republic and went to the editorial page, I saw Sylvia Allen's article there about a penny for Arizona's educational system, and Sylvia is the chair of the Education Committee in the Senate. Now here you have a rural senator, very conservative, and she says education is so doggone important, we need to better fund it and have a revenue stream that is consistent. So her proposal is to take the revenue stream and put it on the ballot and have all of us vote on it so it can't be overturned by the legislature like it has been done in years past. Her proposal is $800 million for K-12, and that goes to the districts and they manage that money. $200 million go to the universities like Arizona State, University of Arizona, and NAU to lower student tuition. Because, as Sylvia Allen told me this week, the Constitution says we must have access to the universities at near zero cost. And then $50 million to the Community College Foundation, community colleges for trade and workforce development. These monies are sorely missed and needed if we're going to make Arizona a vibrant country. State. I'll get this in the right pretext yet. But Sylvia Allen took the idea, put it from her head to her pen to the paper, and is giving us some leadership. And I'm sure there's going to be changes along the way and things will be tweaked. But this is a major, major step in getting education down the road. So let's give a round of applause to Sylvia Allen. Sylvia, you can stand up, Sylvia. There she is. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, we have a long way to go and much to do and not a lot of time to do it because every year we wait, we lose a little kid. And we can't lose those precious assets. So, a penny for Arizona's educational future. Next on the program is...
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Arizona Superintendent of Public Instruction, Kathy Hoffman, followed by the singing of the National Anthem by Chair of the House Education Committee, State Representative Michelle Udall, and remain standing for today's invocation by former President of the Arizona State Board of Education, Reginald M. Ballantyne III.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Please feel free to join me in singing the national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Can't believe I'm wearing the same tie. As we prepare for the invocation, I would ask that we open our hearts and our minds. And I know this is a public setting, but if you don't mind a quick private comment to God from me. Lord, this is the second event. The first one was a breakfast where we had to get up at dark o'clock, which is really unfair, and we've changed this to a lunch, which is far more humane. So thank you, God. In any event, please bow your heads and let us pray. We offer our gratitude for this group of servants, full of talent, connections, and promise, who you have convened today that they may answer the urgent call for action on the future of Arizona's education. We ask for your blessings after a sea of red and a wave of blue, as we welcome new and returning leaders, that they may accept the responsibilities and opportunities to lead fearlessly for the future of Arizona's education. We ask for your blessings upon our elected leadership and your continued grace to keep the most vulnerable, our students, and your noble servants, our educators, safe in our schools, free from violence, bullying, and fear. We ask your blessings upon our university and college leaders to realize their vision in shifting the paradigm from college-ready students to student-ready institutions of higher education, where lifelong learning is accessible, affordable, and relevant. We ask for your blessings upon our business and industry to lead in K-20 partnerships in developing a skilled workforce, high-paying jobs, and secure families that fuel a robust economy for our great state. We ask for your blessings for our leaders to work tirelessly in eradicating the economic obstacles to our students' future, freeing our third graders from the shackles of illiteracy, and obliterating the pipeline to prison. We ask for blessings of leadership for all in state government to embrace its greatest charge, the education of our students, so that the plagues of food insecurity, failure, and neglect may be cured by abundant growth in body, mind, and spirit of our children. We ask for blessings of guidance for our elected leaders as they toil so that Arizona's citizens may thrive and prosper, reaping the economic rewards of education. For all these blessings, we call upon you to bestow upon our leaders the grace of courage, free of special interests, incivility, and partisanship, so that they may do the right thing as they elevate the destinies of our students through the power of the penny. We offer these prayers together in your name as you taught us. Amen.
To recognize all of today's elected officials and special guests, please welcome State Senator and Senate Education Chairwoman Sylvia Allen and Mike Brewer, President and CEO of Brewer Companies and Benjamin Franklin Plumbing.
Okay, good afternoon. It's really great to be here today to talk about one of my favorite subjects. And I'd like to introduce the following people. We've already had our new school superintendent introduced, but we'll do it again. Kathy Hoffman. And then if all of our senators will stand, I will introduce you. And then if you'll hold your applause till after I recognize each name. So if all the senators will stand, we'll start with our new Madam President, Karen Fann. First, Rick Gray, who is our Majority Leader, State Senator. Sonny Borelli, who's the Majority Whip. We also have here today Kate Brophy-McGee. We have Heather Carter, Andrea D'Alessandro. We have Juan Mendez, J.D. Mesnar, Tyler Pace, Frank Pratt, and Warren Peterson. Thank you. Recognize all of those senators. Next, if all of our representatives would be willing to stand, and I get to say this great name, Leo Biaducci. Yeah, probably didn't say it right. Biasucci. There we go. Love it. I love that name. It's great. Walt Blackman, my new seatmate. Regional Bolding, Shauna Bullock, Kelly Butler, Noel Campbell, Andreas Cano, David Cook, Mitzi Epstein, John Fillmore, Alma Hernandez, John Kavanaugh, Jade Lawrence, Joanne Osborne, Jennifer Pollock, Kevin Payne, Brett Roberts, David Springer, Ben Toma, Kelly Townsend, and Michelle Udall. Thank you for all being here, representatives. And then we'd like to recognize a few other elected officials. Steve Watson, the Maricopa County Superintendent of Schools. Jack Smith, if you'll stand. Chanel Powell, the Ballsy Governing Board member. There we go. And Kathleen Wynn, Maricopa Community College Governing Board, and Richard Hopkins, Buckeye Elementary School District, and Clint Hickman, Maricopa County Board of Supervisors. Thank you for all being here.
As well, we'd like to thank some community leaders for attending today as well. Greg Barr, the editor of the Phoenix Business Journal. Christine Burton, Arizona State Board of Education. Elvia Diaz, editorial board of the Arizona Republic. Dick Foreman, Arizona Business Education Coalition. Neil Giuliano, Southern Arizona Leadership Council. Oh. Greater Phoenix Leadership. I have bad notes. Maria Harper Marinick, Chancellor of the Maricopa Community College. Jay Healer, Arizona Board of Regents. Beth Lewis with Save Our Schools. Ted Maxwell, Southern Arizona Leadership Council. Melinda Merkel, Save Our Schools. Don Pinich Thacker, Save Our Schools. Larry Penley, Arizona Board of Regents. Mark, I'm going to mess this one up. Mark Pletzway, there he is, with Ed Key, Inc. Todd Sanders with the Greater Phoenix Chamber, right up front. Steve Selesnow, sorry, I apologize. Arizona Community Foundation. Catherine Sigmund, Save Our Schools. Jim Swanson with the Arizona State Board of Charter Schools. Karen Taylor Robeson, Arizona Board of Regents. Sandra Watson with the Arizona Commerce Authority. And Steve Zylstra with the Arizona Technology Council. Thank you so much for being here today.
Please welcome the market president and publisher of the Phoenix Business Journal to share some background on today's event and the importance of investing in education.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for being here today. We really appreciate your attendance, and we do have a very diverse group of people representing many backgrounds, but I'm pleased to partner with our host, ABC15, here this morning, and our great sponsor, Hickman's Family Farms, to address the important issue of education here in Arizona. The leaders that you'll hear from today represent various priorities related to education as well as industry. All have an interest in improving the education system in Arizona, and I'm certain your attendance here today indicates your willingness to learn more. Education ranks high on the list of topics and industries that we cover at the Phoenix Business Journal. We recognize the fact that education impacts the business community in so many ways and is a reason why we became involved and helped organize this event for 2 consecutive years. We're proud to be here with our friends at ABC15 to discuss education funding in our state. I'm grateful to Vice President and General Manager Anita Helt for offering to host the event here today. And thanks again to Hickman's Family Farms for their sponsorship. Thanks so much, Anita. A round of applause for ABC15 and Anita Helt. Now we'll get started with our program. Oh, one mention too, Dr. Crow will actually be the final presenter today too. So Alan will be second, Dr. Crow will be third.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage our Master of Ceremonies, ABC 15 anchor, Steve Irvin.
Nobody call OSHA. I think this is stable. I'm not sure for sure. Welcome everybody to what we call Studio A here at ABC 15. This is where we normally do our Sonoran Living program. So just a couple of hours ago, there was somebody on a couch right here extolling the virtues of age-defying beauty treatments. And now we have a quorum of the state legislature and some of the biggest decision makers in town talking about one of the most important issues in the state. Show of hands, how many people with the business community here? Just raise your hand. How many educators here? Good. And then government folks, elected officials, staff members. I was really hoping the government folks wouldn't be the largest group here. That's a vote. That's a joke for the conservatives in the room. It's critically important. One more show of hands. How many people here are deeply concerned about the future of the 1.1 million school children in K-12 education right now? Raise your hands. Yes, not a trick question. Everybody should be raising their hands. It's critically important, isn't it? You know, 10 years from now, the average second grader is going to be able to vote. 20 years from now, some of those second graders are going to be sitting in this room or in a room just like this with big decision makers making important calls about the future of education and other critical issues in our state. And so we have to make sure we don't let them down. And I'm glad to see such a diverse group. I just got the guest list from this last night, and it was just remarkable to see so many different people in the room. And I'm truly glad to see that there are so many people here that want to talk about this, get that dialogue going. So scan the room, find someone who disagrees with you, and please reach out and talk with them, because we've got to keep that dialogue going. And if we do so, we are already one step ahead of Washington. I don't know who that was a joke for, but... Please welcome our first speaker of the day. She is the newly elected Arizona State Senate President, Senator Karen Fann.
Thank you all very much. Let's see where this mic is here. Good afternoon, colleagues, regents, educators, leaders, and friends. It is truly an honor today to be speaking to you about the Penny for Arizona's Education Future event. Today, I do not plan to speak about the past. Rather, I am excited to speak and discuss the future. But before I begin in my formal remarks, since there are some new friends in the audience, and I am new to the role of Senate President, Phil Francis, John Whiteman, Mike Brewer, and their CEO coalition asked me to please take a few moments to share a little bit about myself. My family has done business in Arizona for generations. In fact, my father used to buy heavy equipment from John Whiteman and his family. My brother Mike now assumes that role and still does work with the Whiteman family. I am a small business owner. I own a highway construction company myself in Guardrail. I have 40 employees, and I can tell you one of the hardest things I have, and all of us have in our business these days, is finding qualified workers. And that's why I am such a huge supporter of JTED and CTE and education in general. We cannot have good economy, thriving businesses without well-educated team members and employees. I am a previous vice mayor for the city of Prescott. I am a 3-term mayor for the town of Chino Valley. As a local elected official, I can tell you firsthand that you cannot have healthy communities without healthy schools. And healthy schools means having parents and your neighbors, everybody involved in making sure that our kids are growing up in safe environments and they are learning the tools they need to be progressive and successful students and leaders in the future. So I ask for your help with that. I have served 3 terms in the House of Representatives, and I am now in my 2nd term in the Senate and will be serving as Senate President. I am honored and thrilled. I have the most amazing colleagues, both in the Senate and the House, to be working with, and I call on all of them to let's put our politics aside, roll up our sleeves, and find a great solution for moving Arizona forward and funding education. Today's event is about funding Arizona's education future, and I feel privileged to join the president of the nation's largest university, Dr. Michael Crow, and Alan Jones, the Arizona president for Lennar Homes, the nation's largest home building company, as they highlight the importance of funding in-state tuition and trade and workforce development for our community colleges. I am here to share with you the importance of investing in our public schools. A strong Arizona economy begins with a strong and appropriately funded K-12 education system. As a business person, city councilwoman, mayor, and state legislator, I have been a consistent advocate for investing in Arizona's classrooms. Last year, I was a proud supporter of Governor Ducey's 20 by 2020 plan, as well as the effort by State Senator Kate Brophy-McGee to ensure that the school's 0.6% sales tax for Arizona schools did not end. But we must do more. That is why I am supportive of the recent proposals by Kate Brophy-McGee and our chair of the Senate Education Committee, State Senator Sylvia Allen, to send a 1-cent sales tax to the 2020 ballot. With this, Arizonans once again have the opportunity to invest in Arizona's education system. But I've been asked to address Senator Allen's proposal today. Her proposal is powerful because it's simple. A constitutional amendment to create a permanent, voter-protected, dedicated funding source for Arizona schools that will generate over $1 billion. That is per year in funding. Hundreds of millions of dollars that are more than expiring in Proposition 301, with greater flexibility for Arizona school districts, greater access for Arizonans to attend universities, and greater investment in the workforce development of our local economies through our community colleges. Focusing on our K-12 education system, Arizona is now in a reading crisis, with nearly 50% of our children unable to read at the third grade level by the end of third grade. One of the things I like best about Senator Allen's proposal is that not only does it double the amount of money currently being invested in Arizona's Classroom Site Fund, from $400 to $800 million, but it also provides tremendous flexibility for local school districts to make local decisions, investing in local priorities, and exercising local control. One great example of this flexibility is the opportunity for districts to fund voluntary full-day kindergarten. I will be the first to admit that years ago, I was not a fan of full-day kindergarten. Frankly, I remembered the days when, for some, kindergarten was just an extended babysitting service, learning how to tie shoes, color, take naps, have snacks, and the like. But as our education system has continued to grow and evolved with the new rigors of our modern education system, and Arizona households have expanded to both parents working and single-parent households, kindergarten is now the new first grade. It is no longer about learning how to tie your shoes on a block of wood. It is now reading, it's addition, and it's important learning that many children will not get at home. By eliminating the arbitrary percentages in the former Classroom Site Fund and doubling the amount of funds available to local school districts, this proposal will make it possible for more and more families to have access to high-quality, voluntary, full-day kindergarten. Excuse me. Another great example of why this proposal to double funding and increase flexibility through the Classroom Site Fund makes sense for our schools in the emphasis of local control by our locally elected school boards. Whether it's school resource officers, nurses, reducing classroom size by hiring more teachers, or simply investing in teacher compensation, every community is different, and every locally elected school board should have the ability to strategically invest these incremental resources in the methods they feel will most effectively enhance their student successes. So here we are today at ABC15 Studios at a wonderful event being produced by the Phoenix Business Journal with over 30 members of the legislature, business leaders from the Greater Phoenix Chamber of Commerce, Southern Arizona Leadership Council, Greater Phoenix Leadership, and education leaders from across the state, teachers, superintendents, and the co-founders of Save Our Schools. Now is the time for your elected leaders to hear from you. Senator Kate Brophy-McGee, Senator Sylvia Allen, and many others have worked diligently throughout the interim to find plausible solutions to the education issues we all wish to address. I support sending a penny to the ballot in 2020 to increase funding for our children's education and look forward to working with everyone to ensure we have additional funding for our educational system. I support over $800 million in Classroom Site Fund $250 million in in-state tuition dollars, and to make college more affordable for all Arizonans, and distributing trade and workforce development dollars to our community colleges. Do you? For those of you who would like to see more, I believe that raising the expiring Proposition 301 to a full penny, and it is the appropriate increase at this time. I support the flexibility of local control, which is ingrained in this proposal. Give each locally elected school board, whether rural or urban, the chance to invest their local dollars toward their students' priorities. And for those of you who are not happy with a proposal that relies on sales tax, I personally believe that funding education is everyone's responsibility, which is why I support the sales tax that ensures that every Arizonan participates in our economic development and investing in our schools. John Whiteman, who is a philanthropist, businessman, and community leader, recently said, "There is nothing more regressive than not appropriately funding Arizona's schools." And for those of you who know me, I am a huge football fan, and I believe there is no quote more appropriate for this opportunity for our state than that said by former National Football League Commissioner Phil Tagliabue, who was commissioner during 17 years of peace between team owners and the Football League labor union, when he said, "We cannot let perfect be the enemy of good." Ironically, I would describe Arizona's voters choosing to strategically, flexibly, and permanently invest over $1 billion of annual funds to Arizona's public school systems, not just to be good, but to be great. Now is the time for the business community and education community to share their voices in supporting our vision for a penny for Arizona's education future. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Fan, and you touched briefly on the importance of a developing workforce and trade opportunities here. And to talk more about that and the importance of investing in trade and workforce development, please welcome the CEO of Lennar, Arizona, Mr. Alan Jones.
Well, it's great to be with you today. I consider this very much a privilege. Thank you, Hickman Family Farms. Thank you to the Arizona Business Journal, and thank you to ABC15. I've had an opportunity to be in the home building industry now and to work for Lennar here in Phoenix for the last 19 years and to be the division president here. And this past year, Lennar purchased Cal Atlantic in February and created the largest home builder in the country and the largest home builder here in the state. So with that backdrop and the fact that this past year, the combination of Lennar and Cal Atlantic, Lennar closed 2,048 homes. And the goal for this upcoming year is to close 2,100 plus homes. So we've got a challenge ahead of us. It's been an interesting experience merging two large companies like that. And the biggest challenge we've had has been workforce. And let me just explain why I would say that. So what we had happen this past year, and this would fascinate some people, and that is that we had lotteries at 10 of our communities. Not 10 lotteries, lotteries at 10 of our different communities. Let me just share with you one experience that I had, and this was in South Phoenix, where we have tremendous success because of the proximity to downtown. I went to this lottery. Now, you have to understand, in order to come to the lottery as a buyer, you have to come out to our community first. You have to say, I want to buy a home, and we tell you that, you know what, we limit how many homes we release each month. So why don't you come back next month, because we don't have any available this month, but you need to pre-qualify. You need to figure out which home you want. You need to figure out which home site you want to buy, and then just come back next month at the appointed time. And if we draw your card, you'll be one of the lucky home buyers. Now, for a lot of us, we would say, you got to be kidding me. There's no way I would do that. I went to this lottery in South Phoenix, one of the 10 communities this last year. There was 21 people that were there. And I say people, I mean either people or individuals, families that were already pre-qualified to buy a home. And so it's an interesting thing. Some of these families are pretty creative. They bring their young kids so that I'll feel bad when their young kids cry and I don't sell their parents a home. And it's pretty effective because I actually do feel bad. So I go to this lottery, and we sell 6 homes. There's 21 people there to buy a home from us. Now, I don't know about you, but that hurts, okay? And you say, well, why would you do that? And there's only one reason. It's because even if I sold 21 homes, we would only start 6 homes the next month. And then 6 homes the next month. So we might as well not create a problem for our trades and for these people. So we say, please come back. And thankfully, a lot of them do. So that was one example of what we experienced. We have a workforce shortage. Our estimate for this last year is that we could have sold and closed an additional 100 homes. So Lennar is approximately 10% of the market. 2,100 homes, there's about 22,000 permits pulled this last year. So if we are, as one builder, 100 short, that means there's 1,000 homes that didn't get built this last year. And a lot of you could look at this and say, well, that's too bad for you builders. But what I want to point out is that it's not just too bad for us builders. What's happening is, as a result of that happening, you have 1,000 homes that didn't get built. Let me just explain a couple of quick things. We use 40 different trades to build one home. And you say, well, how many people? It's about 140 to 150 conservatively to build one home. That's quite a few. You know, you got plumbing, you got concrete, you got framing, electrical, heating and air conditioning, you got insulation, sheetrock, stucco. And it goes on, landscaping, fencing, all of those things. There's 40 different trades that work for us. But we're just getting started here, okay? That's the home. What about the community? How many people does it take to build the community? We start with a zoning attorney, okay? We start with an attorney that helps us with the contract. We hire architects to do our plans. We hire engineers to get the plans approved by the city. We hire an engineer to get the community approved. And then it goes on from there. We got lenders, okay? And then you go into building the community. And in the community, you've got your grading, you've got your sewer, water, dry utilities, paving, concrete, landscaping, streetlights. Okay, so there's a few of how many we need in the community, but what about the builder? Okay, how many people from the builder standpoint are we missing out on or that we need in order to build that one home? You got land development, you got accounting, you got purchasing, you've got the home construction, we've got customer care, we've got the sales associates, both the new home consultants and the internet new home consultants, office administration, and of course none of those include me. So now what about the multiplying effect? What happens in our state when we don't build those 1,000 homes? Estimates are that it takes 4 to 5 individuals to service the needs of the family that buys a home. So if we have 1,000 homes that don't get built this last year, there's another 4,000 to 5,000 individuals in our local economy that could have had a job to service those 1,000 people. We're talking about 4,000 or 5,000 jobs in our local economy for that 1,000 homes. Now, what's interesting about that is we're still not done yet, because the fun just gets started after you buy the home. Any of you buy a home lately? You know, that old couch just doesn't cut it anymore. So you get some new furniture, and the appliances, they don't cut it either. Well, if you get appliances and you get a new couch, you better get home security. Then we go from there to your patio furniture. You're not going to invite somebody over to see your new pool and your landscaping if you don't have any patio furniture. And it goes on, and the list is just awesome as far as the impact that the industry has. So let me just share with you an example of one individual. This is an individual by the name of Perry Lynch. Perry Lynch happened to go to work for Mike Brewer some years ago. Perry didn't have any formal college training, and thankfully there are some of our trade partners that we work with that have on-the-job training. Now, I'm not here to express to this group how the money should be spent. But I can tell you that we have a workforce shortage. There are those that are a lot smarter than I am that can figure out how the best way is to improve the training for people to go into this industry. But thankfully, today, we have some trade partners that are making up for the shortage that today exists. So Mike Brewer and his company have a training program, and so do several others, because they have to. So Perry goes to work for this company, and 2 years later, he's making $60,000. And you go, wow, that's not bad. Here's a situation where an individual takes it upon himself to go to work for a company that has a training program and now has a bright future. And isn't it great that some of our industry leaders are doing that to make up for a shortfall that now exists? What's interesting about that is that we could go through and say, well, what are the qualifications for somebody to get into the home building industry? What are the qualifications for somebody to get a job with one of these 40 trade partners that we work with? Well, it's a pretty short list. It's a good attitude, it's a good work ethic, and a willingness to learn. That's the exciting thing about the home building industry, is it's actually a business. It's an industry where somebody can learn it and develop the skills and the ability to be very successful at it. What I find very intriguing and actually very encouraging is that I have a number of people that work for me that didn't quite finish. In fact, a lot of them didn't even start a formal education process. They work in the home building industry, and they work in all different aspects. I have several of our key managers that work for us that don't have a college degree. And so what I'm suggesting to this group is that we have a fundamental need today to find a way to make it known to people. The message that exists is that, and the feeling, I would say, is that there's this strong feeling in our society today that everyone needs to go to college. And that's awesome. And congratulations, President Crow. I'm excited for the fact that that does exist, but I also understand and appreciate the fact that there's some other opportunities out there. And all I'm here to do today is to say that, and really to just make the point that there's an opportunity that exists in the workplace today for individuals that want and need another opportunity, a great experience. I love the business that I'm in. I love the fact that it contributes so much to our society, and the fact that after you've been involved in a community, to be able to go back and realize that you created a place for people to live. What an awesome experience and what an awesome industry. And I appreciate so much having the opportunity to stand before you today and just make the simple point that in the Phoenix marketplace, we have a workforce shortage. I don't know how to correct that. I know that it exists. And I would plead with those that are in positions of power to understand that education is an incredibly important part of our society here today, but so is training individuals to be able to work in the trades and to be able to help move forward our economy because of the incredible engine that home building is. So thank you.
Thank you, Alan. We are quite blessed in this state to have some terrific public universities, some terrific community colleges as well. They provide incredible opportunities for so many people, and one of the reasons they can provide those incredible opportunities is because we work very hard to try to make them affordable as well. So here to tell us a little bit more about the importance of committing and investing in in-state tuition, please welcome the president of Arizona State University, Dr. Michael Crow.
So thank you, and what I'm going to try to do is, it really is the case, as we just heard from Alan, you know, everybody doesn't go to college, everybody doesn't need to go to college. It's not about that. It turns out it's about how do we design a society wherein we can be responsive to whatever we encounter, that we can adjust, that we can adapt, that families can move forward. Some families will need more educational attainment, formal education. Some families will need less formal educational attainment. It depends on the trajectories and their interests and their desires and so forth. So what I want to try to do today is just